you changed party. The word is walk the floor. You didn't show a loyalty. For whatever reason, you didn't show a loyalty to what? How did you tell your dad and your mum? Look,
quite easy. It's
What-
quite easy. I
what
would
do
never,
they say?
I'm not. My job is to be loyal to myself, to my family, and to my constituents, not to a political party as such. Because if a political party doesn't deliver or keep its promises, then it's them that's being disloyal.
yeah,
Not
but
me.
how did your dad and your mum take it when you said, "I'm going to be a Tory"?
Well, they voted for me, so.
Yeah,
No.
but the day. Come on, be honest.
I don't really remember. My son was upset. My youngest, my oldest son, he doesn't give a toss really. But my youngest son, he was a big Corbynite. He went to university and come back a vegetarian. You know the type, don't you? Long hair, beard, moustache, vegetarian.
With apologies to all vegetarians
Yeah.
who are actually watching the show at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with being a vegetarian. But this was a lad who used to have bacon cobs every morning and pork chops every afternoon. I went away for 6 months and he wouldn't touch meat. So he was radicalised at the university by his vegetarian friends. And the first vegetarian in our family. So, yeah. But yeah, I mean...
You walking the floor, though, must have Boris
not-
Johnson then. That must have been like all his Christmases
No, Boris
and
Johnson
birthdays
wasn't,
coming
he
together.
wasn't the leader of the Conservative. When I walked the floor, it was Theresa May.
Yeah, well, she must have thought that everything's right now because here you've got somebody, a pit-faced worker at one stage, who is now coming to the Tories.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I mean, I was on the Ashfield Council as a councillor, and my closest friends on the council were people like Ben Bradley, Kevin Rostance, Phil Rostance. You know, these were people who were talking my language, and I'm thinking, my goodness, I've sat with a load of lunatics for the first 2 or 3 years on the council, but the actual people that I've got something in common with, that's got my same values, are Conservatives. So it's a no-brainer.
You started to be seen more and more, you were being heard more and more, and the next thing, deputy leader of the Conservative Party.
Deputy chairman.
Deputy chairman, yes, of course, they're two different things entirely, aren't they? Yeah. And there were other deputy chairmen, but no one seemed to have ever heard of them.
Well, I think
there was one person who was hearing about, and that was you.
There's 3 or 4 deputy chairmen for different roles within the party. My role was membership, was going speaking at dinner events and raising money and meeting donors, just generally being, that link between the party and the membership, because I was quite popular with the membership, very popular, and I was the most sought after speaker.
Outspoken speaker.
Yeah, I suppose
saying
it was.
things that other people won't say. The unkind might say, the necessary idiots at that time, that you would say things that others would be afraid to say.
I'm not sure we should be using the idiot word, Tony. That's a word I more associate with journalists.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yes, I know there's 2 of us in here. One's a politician, the other's a journalist. We should both be at the bottom of the sea sorted.
Well, it's worse for me because I'm both.
Yeah, you are now, aren't you? You've joined the other side. Yeah. So then you're a Tory, you're doing well. You had a relationship with Boris. I know you had a relationship with him.
Yeah, it was fine. I mean, I got on really well with Boris.
He's a showman as well.
Yeah, he's a showman, very popular. People like to listen to what he's got to say. People, when he walks into a room, people want to be around him and touch him and speak to him and, all that sort of stuff. But
like Nigel Farage?
Like Nigel. I used to have lots of one-to-ones with Boris.
Have you read the book?
No, I'm not going to put money in his pocket. He's got enough, hasn't he? So I don't read books anyway. I'm not interested. Not yet. I might do when I get to your age.
Thank you very much.
When I'm sat there and with a tartan blanket over my knees, having soup for my dinner. And
it's so kind of you to think of me in such a nice
fields.
way. Let me come back at you.
Then.
I've said your box office. You say the most outlandish things at times. Yeah. Do you think them up first? What can I say that will make the media take a notice?
If I thought them up, Tony, I probably wouldn't say half of them. So,
do you make mistakes?
Well, yeah, of course I do. I make mistakes. And somebody once asked me to score. I was with Rishi Sunak actually at my old school. I think it was earlier this year, and they says, "Do you ever get nervous before you speak?" I says, "No, I usually get nervous after I've spoke because of what I've said." So, the fallout sometimes is.
Let's get close and personal. Then, do you actually say something and then you think, "Oh, why did I say that?"
I don't know. It's a tough one. I mean, I've said things in the past before, and then gone in the chamber or whatever. So I'm not looking at my phone, and then it's just gone absolutely. It's gone mental. My phone, reporters, journalists, look what you've said now, look what you've done now. I think, that wasn't too bad.
Yeah. You've had some strange names as well. 30p Lee.
Yeah, yeah.
I was there when you
was there, yeah.
You did the big
It's your
cook.
fault.
No, it wasn't. I had a very nice curry that
Hey,
day.
can you confirm to that camera, Tony, that we did make meals for 30p?
They did make meals. So there was about 5 or 6 of them, and they actually tasted all right.
It was nice, wasn't
But you would have needed probably a couple of storerooms to be able to buy all the stuff that you
Yeah.
could buy in bulk to make it
But
cheap.
the point we was
So
trying to prove,
you didn't
Tony,
con
is
everybody. You
was proving a point.
you weren't
can
trying to put food banks down. Some people
No.
accused you of trying to put food banks down. You weren't.
I was volunteering at the food bank
Yeah.
and giving my own money to the food bank and my own time delivering meals around Ashfield.
Well, let's move you from the Conservatives. Well, they chucked you out, really, didn't they? Because you didn't go the right way.
I'd like to say there was restructuring, Tony.
Well, they restructured you out of it. Yeah. And you suddenly found yourself an independent. I mean, did the independent group at Ashfield give you a call and say, come and join us now?
No, I mean, the independents group at Ashfield, most of them, the leadership, are not fit for public office, Tony.
Yeah, well,
No,
think
it's important. It was important.
it may be important to you. It's also important to our lawyers as well, and yours.
Well, I'm not bothered about that. It's important
Here we go again.
it's important to the people of Ashfield. They've had a torrid time with these people that's supposed to be running the council.
Wouldn't it be better if both you and they worked together and put the mutual force?
Yes, it would be absolutely brilliant. I love that. My door is always open. I wish they would contact me and want to work together, but as yet they don't want to have that conversation with me.
Well, let's deal with something rather different than that. You're second across the floor. Now you're out. In fact, you've been Labour, you've been Conservative, you've been an independent for a very short time.
Yeah.
And Reform UK, do they come to your rescue,
So
or do you make them this last election? First, you become the first MP. Then, secondly, 1 becomes 5. Is that down to Lee Anderson?
No, it's down to the failures of the Conservative Party, it's down to the failures of the Labour Party, and it's down to the mood of the country, Tony. The mood of the people in this country are fed up of voting for one thing and getting another. And yeah, it was a big thing for me. And I didn't walk the floor to join Reform. I was an independent at the time, so I've not left the party. I've just joined a party. And, you know, the conversations I had with Nigel and Richard, you know, it just felt right that, you know, the country's fed up. Absolutely fed up with these two main parties. And somebody's got to make a stand. And I sort of got into politics by accident, became a member of Parliament, which is a great honour. And sometimes you lie awake at night and think to yourself, well, you know, I'm here now, I've got to do something. And I think if I'd have not joined Reform, I'd have regretted it, because I feel I'm part of something now. I feel, and people, you know, people in the public looked at people like myself and Nigel and Richard as, you know, as their voice. So I feel privileged, but also I feel like I've got a massive responsibility to these people to keep speaking out for them.
Now, you're a lot younger than I am. You've got a lot of time left in politics. At one time, I think you thought this would be a fairly shortish time now of being the MP, but you're going to stay for a while. And what happens if Nigel Farage decides to jump under the Trump banner at some stage, go to America, etc.? Wouldn't the outspoken Lee Anderson end up possibly as the leader of Reform UK?
No, it's not going to happen. I need to be outspoken and speak my mind and sometimes ruffle a few feathers. I think if you're going to have a leader, there's got to be a little bit more statesman-like than what I am.
Are you telling me now, because there's a camera pointing at you, that if the opportunity came and success brought more and more people for Reform, because I know you're campaigning like mad for county councils and things like that, if it was said to you, we would like you to be our leader, you'd say no?
Absolutely 100% no. My focus is Ashfield.
And you've changed several times in the past what your focus was.
No, I haven't, Tony. I've never changed at all in my life. This, by the way, you know, you need to get this right for the camera. I have never changed my outlook, my principles, and how I treat people in my life. I've never changed once.
So basically, you're still a socialist then?
I'm still the same person. I've never
Still
been a
a
socialist. Socialist is the redistribution of poverty.
And poverty you have seen.
I've seen lots of poverty. I've seen lots of poverty in Ashfield, and I've always done my best to help people. I always give them a pay rise away. I raise money for people. I've raised over 100 grand for local good causes. You was at one of these events a few weeks back. I've donated over 20 grand out of my own pocket in the past 5 years since I've been a member of Parliament. So I do my bit, Tony.
Do you sleep nights?
I struggle sometimes. The buzz you get from politics, and you know, both good and bad, it never leaves you.